Welcome to the GHQ Crew podcast, where if you want to hit it further than your eye can see, you better come get fit for that new GT.
Love it.
That was a good one, right?
That was awesome.
I think
Did you come up with that one?
I did. I was thinking all morning.
You know what? You're a poet and don't know it.
I'm a fun story. This is going to be an awesome episode, but we got the one-line king in the hot seat today.
Oh, yeah.
This man's got more one-liners than you'll be able to think of in a lifetime. And we're excited to have none other than Todd Jenkins with Titleist Golf in the hot seat today. What's up, man?
How you doing? Thank you for having me today.
We're excited to have you because not only is it embargo day for the new GT product, but this product is incredible.
It is.
No.
Oh, yeah.
This product is generational.
That's correct. Generational technology.
Generational technology.
You bet.
Before we dive into generational technology, I want to get some backstory on you, Todd, about kind of your history in golf, and we'll dive into the fact that you're an Alabama fan. And
Roll Tide. You bet.
But we kind of start every episode with a question. How did you get started in golf? Have you played since childhood?
I grew up in a golf family, and I probably started playing kind of semi-seriously when I was 10 or 12 years old. And so came up that through high school and tried to play unsuccessfully a little bit in college, but just love the business and love golf and been around it all my life. And from after I graduated from Alabama, I was very fortunate. I had a very influential mentor in my life, and kind of guided me to pursue something in sales, or obviously because I enjoyed golf and had a passion for it. So did an internship after my sophomore year at Alabama. Many of you that may see this probably don't remember this company, but it was called Powerbuilt back in the day. They had the orange staff bag. So I'm from Indiana originally, but I grew up in South Carolina, but a lot of my family was still up in Indiana. So I did an internship for them, which is also, the company itself is H&B, Hilrick and Bradsby, which is also Louisville Slugger baseball bats. So I did an internship for them one summer. Tell the story. It's kind of one of those epiphany moments in your life, and you're like, you kind of sit back and think about things in your future. And I was 19 years old, and I was never forget. I was going around, I did all kinds of things, whatever they wanted done, be it baseball or golf. There that summer, I did it. And so I went around one day with a guy named Charlie Alberts, and Charlie was the rep for Powerbuilt in southern Indiana and northern Kentucky, and he also had several other lines. You guys know, you have there's guys that are company reps like myself, and then you have some that have numerous lines. Well, Charlie was one of those guys, and we're traveling around in his van, and I'm asking questions, and and he's telling me that he's a member at this club in Louisville, and and then he's, he was a very nice guy, and he was like, man, I'm going to Hawaii next week with my wife and kids, and I'm starting to, kind of put things together and process this. This guy seems like he's doing okay, Yeah. And he travels around. He's not working in an office. And, after the day kind of played out, I'm like, Charlie, could you, make a decent living, in this business? And just kind of pondering things and taking it in. He goes, oh yeah, I do, pretty well. And so that got me thinking about what I could do in this industry. And I worked at golf courses some and did that through college. And that was fine. I just for me, it was going down a different route in the golf industry side of things. So started right out of college in Atlanta, Georgia with Head Golf, which was a company back in the day in the early 90s. A lot of you people have probably have had tennis rackets or skates, and with them 3 years, and had opportunity in Atlanta to get on with Spalding Sports, which back in 30 years ago was a big name, in golf, and was there in Atlanta as well for 6.5 years. And, again, as I'm evolving into my late 20s at this point, and have a couple of kids, and just thinking about my future and for my wife and my children. And, I'm kind of getting more and more exposed to the industry every day, every month. And I said, I'm either going to do something else. This is when I'm about 28, 29 years old, or I'm going to get on board with the best in the business. And them now and been with them 24 years come September.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Moved to Mississippi.
Yeah.
Drug my wife kicking and screaming from Atlanta, Georgia to Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh boy.
Loved it there. It was
Dancing
great.
Rabbit.
Dancing Rabbit. Yes. That was one of my accounts back in Philadelphia, Mississippi.
Yes,
Yeah.
And so I was there 6.5 years and had an opportunity to come to DFW in 2007. So I've been here now 17 plus years, which encompasses, half the Metroplex and then out you guys way here in West Texas and Midland, Odessa. So it's been great.
So you were new to the West Texas region when I was new to Midland, basically, because I moved here in 2008.
Yes, that's correct.
We were kind of new together.
We were, buddy. That's right.
Isn't that great? I love how you just nonchalantly say, I played golf at Alabama.
No, I tried.
I played golf.
No, unsuccessfully. So
D1 play.
no,
Well, most guys are screaming that from the mountaintop.
Sure.
Todd's like, I played
no,
at Alabama.
no, I didn't.
Very humbly too.
No,
I tried to play
I didn't. I was
Roll damn Todd.
no. That's it. No, I tried. But,
Todd Jenkins is probably one of the biggest Alabama fans you'll ever meet.
He played there.
no, I didn't play there. I tried to play there. So
One of the biggest Alabama fans you'll ever meet. He's what do you call the statisticians? Just
Yeah.
he knows
He knows his
every
Todd
play, every player for the last how many ever years, and it's always a fun conversation because I'm a big Mississippi State fan, and I just remember one year we had Dak Prescott. We were in the hot seat. We were ranked number one.
yeah,
Whoa.
No. Let
Is
me.
that a fact, Connor? Was Mississippi State ranked 1?
We were undefeated, ranked number one going into Alabama.
Is this true?
I felt like they were ranked 2 or 3, but they were highly ranked. And I tell you what, that same year, I think Ole Miss was very high.
We were ranked
as
number
well.
one in my book, and we had Dak Prescott undefeated going into Alabama, and we straight got roll tide.
I was about to say, we all know that story. As Cowboy fans, we know that
Yeah,
story.
we got rolled up by Alabama that year, and it ruined our perfect. I think we were 8-0 going into Alabama.
Yeah, I believe
And-
you're right.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and
They were ranked. They may have been one.
It
It was
was
in the
up
top
there.
3. It was the top 3 for sure. And Ole Miss was highly ranked.
Yeah, they
I mean,
were.
right-
Because,
They were like right behind.
because Hugh Freeze was there at Ole Miss.
well, they
was
had
he,
that
during that time.
Kelly kid or something like that.
Yeah.
And those 2 receivers that
Were awesome. Yeah.
unbelievable.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it destroyed our year, and
Dude, don't feel bad. That happens to a lot of people that go into Tuscaloosa that time of year.
I
So-
mean, Jared's sitting on the high seat here with Michigan, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's like, I mean, we just.
I mean,
he's just laying back.
Todd, I didn't
Taking
do
it.
this. You brought this up.
I know.
And I haven't said a word about this. I think you can attest that I'm a very respectful fan.
Yes, you always have been. You've always, you always appreciated Alabama.
We did go blue Alabama's ass in that Rose Bowl.
Yeah, yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And then went on to just
Went on to the Natty.
take it all.
And dominated Washington, I just would say.
Might add, yeah.
Dominant. I mean, we were number 1.
Great year.
That's a fact.
Mhm.
This year we will be probably not number 1. It's not shaping up to.
So that brings up an interesting question. Alabama's going through a transition right now. Had one of the, if not the greatest coach of all time, retire.
Yes,
And so, how do you think Alabama's season's going to fare this year?
I'm very optimistic. I think the new coach DeVere is going to do a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at his record where he's been. I mean, he's only lost about a handful of games in his total tenure of coaching, right? And UW had a great year. And my son was just like, scorched earth, when Saban, he's like, oh my gosh, the world's coming to an end, but I was watching the draft back in April, and I called my son after that draft. I said, man, I don't know how the new coach is going to be, but you know what? There's about 4 or 5 of these guys in the first round that played at University of Washington. So, he can recruit and coach. So, it's going to be exciting. And obviously with
For
Texas and OU coming into SEC, It's incredible.
I'll tell you something interesting too.
Can't wait.
Two things. If you look at the draft, I think most of those UW players actually went before the U of M players.
Yes.
And then the second interesting fact that dude, that coach, he coached a quarterback that went before the national championship winning quarterback.
True. Penix.
And the wide receiver, and I can't remember the kid's name.
Roma Dunze.
Say again?
Roma Dunze.
Yes.
I was watching I don't know if it was like a Hard Knocks or what it was. Freaking fact finder back then. Anyway, they're sitting in the receiver room, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is in the receiving room. I'm like, that's a no-brainer. I mean, that's the guy you take. So they're basically interviewing them, so to speak, and it's like, 3 or 4 guys haven't drafted them yet, and then head coach of this NFL squad walks up, and I'm trying to remember who it was. I just can't remember. Walks up and was like, okay, who would you take?
Yeah.
And the wide receiver coach says, oh boy from Washington.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going,
Sure.
hey bro, Marvin Harrison Jr. was in your room. I would pick him.
Yeah.
But no, he said that other guy was way more like,
wow.
Just
interesting. Yeah.
He impressed him more.
Yes.
Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I mean, it's
so I think that coach is great. He's going to recruit great. He knows how to play the NIL game. And like we were talking the other day, I don't think Saban wanted to.
Probably not.
Saban was just, he didn't like it.
Yeah. So
I like that he didn't like it because I don't like it.
Yeah. It's obviously, the best of all time.
And why sit there and fight it when you're the GOAT, dude?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Another chapter of life, right?
Yeah.
So it's cool, but I'm excited. About a month off, right?
Yep.
It's going to be fantastic.
College football's coming real soon.
It is an exciting time. College football is my favorite time of year. You know what else is my favorite time of year? When we get a generational launch. I can't wait to talk about this, and I think we need to start talking about it.
It is the generational technology launch, and this. Let me just tell the quick story of my fitting real quick. Playing G430, not the fastest driver off the face, but one of the straightest, most consistent drivers. So I go into the GT fitting back in July or earlier this month. No, it's August already. Back in July, I went back into the fitting with my G430. Early July. Hit 5 drives with my G430 to give a baseline of reading, and then got into the GT3 pretty quickly. My average ball speed with my G430 was right around 160.
Okay, that's great.
With the GT3, it was 171.
Get you some.
Wow.
11 miles an hour faster.
Wow.
Off
Fantastic.
the pace.
That's incredible.
That's
generational.
It is so good.
Next generational.
It is so good. Yeah, next generational.
It is.
I like that.
I love that.
Maybe the next one will be NGT. The next one.
You're welcome.
The next generation.
You're welcome.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
I mean, Todd, I want to point this out because I think everybody should know this. And honestly, as part of your history, I jumped the gun a little bit, but as part of your history, I did have one question, and it just hit me, and I'll forget if I don't ask you. And I think I hold you in a very high regard in this industry. I think, and I mean this, and this is not any BS or trying to, show off for the deal or anything. I mean this. You're one of the best salesmen, number one, that I've ever seen. Number two, certainly in the fleet. Probably number one. And I know you won. I know that thought goes beyond these walls, and Titleist believes the same way. You've won, Salesman of the Year twice. Yeah. And for those that don't know, that's a very, very big accomplishment with that company. Very difficult to do. But did that just come natural? Or were you trained by that mentor for that?
A little bit of both, I think.
Yeah.
I just that the mentor I'm speaking of, I saw he kind of spoke to people, talked to people. Made a difference.
Yeah.
In my life. So it's been, and then just I think too, things that you go through put other things in perspective as you go through life. When I, was with head golf, and I had I have 2 states or something. I got North Georgia and North Alabama or something, and I had, my daughter Corinne was already born. My son was just born. So Corinne was 3 and my son was just born. And it was very humbling to go on the road for, a week at a time and really didn't know if you're going to write a dime of business. Right. So it it really puts things in perspective. And then with Spalding was better, but we were still second fiddle, to Titleist there. And even Max Fly was a big player back in the day, in the 80s and 90s, right? And so just seeing what I went through with those 2 companies, I'm not going to take anything for granted, even if I'm, with the best, right? All due respect to those other companies, but there's just a different level, with Titleist and how you can conduct yourself. But just just take nothing for granted, and each customer is important, and I feel like I represent the best brand, the best product, but still you need to put your best foot forward every day.
Yeah. And I mean, there, as you know, there's a heart to it. Rod Duckworth, I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity of meeting him. He was certainly, man. Well, he was like a second dad to me. He I would not be possibly here on the earth without him, but certainly not in this business.
Yeah.
Because I was, I ran real hot, and he pulled me in his office, and I want to tell you this, and because I think when I see it in other people, I think it's super, super cool. But he pulled me in his office and he said, this was after I almost got in a rumble with a member over the bunkers. And I had a bad response to him, no doubt.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was cussing me and I wasn't the one that made the bunkers, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And we're toe to toe out there, and Rod came and stuck up for me, which was cool. And then he pulled me on office and he said these words. He said, Jared, I love you like a son. But he said, you will never make it in this business without one thing. And he goes, I want you to know, I think you're very, very good at this. And I think you could be great at this because you'll work hard. He said, but that's not enough. You have to have a servant's heart.
Yeah, well said.
And if you can't have a servant's heart, you cannot work here.
Yeah.
And I went, servant's heart it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know what that meant at the time.
Yeah.
But I do now.
Yeah.
And
well, and the thing is too, and Jared, I know you've got a great team here at GHQ in Midland, and what's rewarding is if you can mentor some people, pay it forward and pass it down.
Sure.
And some will be receptive, some won't.
Yeah.
And so, I try in this business. I deal with a lot of young people, in their 20s. So, you see some potential, in just I think about my my mentor, and I'm with you. I had there could have been some different roads that I went down if I hadn't had that individual, and my sister's guidance as well was huge. So very important in my life. Made a difference. I mean, it changed my life. For sure.
Yeah. I mean, you were staring down the barrel at, there's always these crosswords, right? That you come to.
Yes.
And you just have to, well, I'll put it this way, man. Here's where you're at now. Because not many people have this skill set. I don't know a whole lot of dudes that could come out to West Texas and stand on a driving range and fit some of the biggest country boys you've ever seen and call them babe.
That's right.
And that is a gift, my friend.
Thank you, brother.
So, Todd.
And then
Todd,
my favorite line out there on that practice range for years.
come on, hit me.
Do you want it next day air or 2-day air?
Yeah.
Kind of look. I mean, after you put that on, they don't know what to say.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, send it.
That's
That's
a
right.
good one.
That's right. We've got Big Daddy. We've got Bubba Bottoms. We got Babe.
Got love.
Love.
Yeah.
And dude, that's such a testament to you because, you know, we laugh about it, but not a lot of guys could pull that off, number one. But number two, dude, it's kind of like if we're talking about, we don't say the Titleist rep. We might say Jenkins every once in a while, but most of the time we're like Big Daddy
Yeah.
or Bubba Bottoms.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, it floods.
You know, it's hilarious you say that because I've got 3 grandsons.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter is due like any day. I mean, she could be in labor right now. Seriously, it's any day, any minute. And then my sons, they're expecting as well, which is cool. And I'm not Papa, Grandpa. I'm Big Daddy. Seriously.
Oh, I love it.
And to have those kids,
awesome.
have those little kids
Say
at
Big
2
Daddy.
and 4 years old. My oldest is 4,
Big Daddy.
and they to say, when they call me Big Daddy, it's the best. I mean, it like melts your heart. You know,
Well, that's part of what's paying forward, dude.
Yeah.
You watch.
Yeah.
That's going to rub on them.
One of my favorite
Cool.
lines
You're awesome.
was when I first met Todd back in 2011. He came in, he like sized me up. And he's like, I bet you can hit it further than a tall Indian can point. Huh?
and then I said, "How did your parents feed you?"
yeah,
That's right.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, in the wrong sport.
You're about to get him going.
Yeah.
Huh?
I love it. I love it. I love it. So generational technology.
yes, sir.
We have circled back. You've been with the Cushnet 24 years.
September's 24 years. Yeah.
24 years now.
Mhm.
Would you say that this is probably the best wood line that has ever come out?
Without question. And being here 24 years, I've seen a lot of great products.
Sure.
We all of our products are good.
Yeah.
Nothing's been bad. But the company, we had a run from 910 to 917. That was a decent run. And there's been some documentaries put out about this Titleist Speed project. So we really got serious. Not that we weren't, but we really got serious, say 5-6 years ago, 6+ years ago, to be back dominant in the metals industry.
Sure.
And so really cool documentary. People check it out. Titleist Speed Project. If you see out there, it's awesome. So the TS came out, big jump from 917, then TSI. Then TSR. So again, how do you keep making it better, right? I mean, because you got regulations with the USGA and what have you. So a gentleman who was passed, unfortunately, a couple of years ago, he was our president of R&D, and he challenged the engineers that you need to think beyond titanium. Okay, we've got to save weight. We've got to think beyond titanium, and the result of that, which we'll see here in a minute, is PMP, which stands for proprietary matrix polymer. It's PMP. Don't ask me to spell proprietary, but that's what it stands for.
Heck, before you just said, I don't know if I could say it.
It's not easy.
Well, the cool thing about that, man, and think about how profound that statement is. See, I'm gonna get all juiced up. Boy, here we go. But think about how huge that statement is, man. And I love guys like this in the industry. And this is not taking away anything from him, because holy cow, when we speak about this in a minute, y'all all understand this guy may be the biggest genius in the history of golf. Because I'm telling you, this product is next level. Here I am. It's supposed to be a non-biased guy, right? I'm telling you, the generational that they tagged this with is correct.
Yes.
It is correct. But think about how profound this is, right? Like this guy challenged.
We had a really good product in TSR.
No doubt.
TSI and TS.
No doubt.
Actually, number one driver on tour.
Yeah.
all those years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it was really good.
And, well, it's like we were talking the other day. I said, Todd, since TSI, I have consistently told the customers, this is the best driver they've had ever. This is the best fairway wood series they've had ever. And I have to go back and say, hey, listen, Jimbo, Bob, whatever, whoever I'm talking to. I know I told you last year that the TSI fairway wood was the greatest fairway wood. They beat it. TSR is better.
You bet.
And I'm telling you again, this GT, I can't speak on this enough. I have not seen a technological advance like this ever. Now, have we seen some good ones? And, this is not a other company discussion. So I'm going to leave their names out. But in recent history, we've seen some companies come to the table with some outstanding technology.
Yeah,
sure.
There's one company in particular that challenged his team.
Mm-hmm.
That challenge didn't go so well the last 3 years because it doesn't feel right. The consumer's telling them it doesn't sound right. And the consumer's showing them in the form of warranties that it's tough to construct. Now, again, I'm going to leave some names out, but you can kind of think through and see what you think. People, I'm telling you, all those issues, they're not going to be here. And that's when you think about it this way. Year in and year out, companies are changing weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're moving CGs forward, down, up, side, whatever. They're increasing MOI.
Mm-hmm. They're
pitching ball speed.
Yes.
I mean, hell, we should all be hitting drivers 520 by now, right?
Yeah. Yes.
We're supposed to gain 15 yards every year.
Yeah.
This is one of the first times we've ever seen all that to be very true.
Yes.
Ball speeds are increasing. Distances are increasing. MOI is higher.
Exactly. Well said, Jared. In order to get all those things and increase all those things, you got to think differently, right?
Yeah.
You got to do something different. You got to do something generational, right?
And it goes beyond innovation, man.
Mm.
Innovation is taking something that exists and making it way better.
Yes.
Right? And the golf industry, all those things I just said, if nothing else, it's a very innovative industry.
You bet.
But it's something entirely different to be inventive, right? And to go in and be able to create this idea.
Yes.
But it starts with great men like this gentleman that passed away
Yes.
to challenge the team
Mm-hmm.
and say, hey, listen, guys, get away from titanium.
Mm-hmm.
What? Bro, it's lighter. It's what makes it go. I mean, like how?
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, how are we going to do that and keep it cost effective?
Sure.
Right? I mean, that's a real thing in business.
Yes. And still feel good and sound good.
Yeah.
Right. So titanium is in this driver. There's two types of titanium in this driver.
Sure.
And we'll discuss, but there's something else that's really special that's been PMP, proprietary matrix polymer.
I feel like y'all need a cover of the song TNT.
I like that.
PMP.
Man. Well,
Can we do that? Can we write that? Come on, here we go.
I love it. Well, our one of our social media guys, he's a big rocker guy, so he'd appreciate that.
Yeah,
So
heck yeah.
I like that. Good thought.
Well, we're excited about that little portion as well. We've been talking about, we got big things to come in the future for this channel. Also for our socials and for our website side with you guys.
You bet.
Aren't you excited about that? I
It's
think
awesome.
it's gonna be awesome.
It's going to be fantastic.
But man, let's
Well, I mean, yeah.
ask this, Clinton. You went GT3, is that correct?
GT3
Okay.
driver and fairway,
Okay, so we got 10 miles an hour off the ping.
at least.
Okay.
Wow.
You're back to hitting it 360 again. You puke. I mean, he was only hitting it 340. But the biggest problem that we saw with Clinton, and I'm not throwing any shade at you, Clinton, but I kind of am. Anytime I get an opportunity
handle
to talk a little smack, I'll take it.
Cast a big shit.
Hey, brother, your dispersion with driver, let's just be honest, you don't play a whole lot anymore. You don't practice. Well, really ever. You have kids.
I didn't play for 7 years.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
I didn't touch a golf club.
Wow.
So needless to say, your ping dispersion was questionable at times. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying it was questionable.
He had all the shots. He just didn't know when they're coming.
Bingo.
Yes. The
Now he does.
That's right. Yeah.
Bro, I'm telling you, we looked at the pattern. It's pretty good.
pretty good.
It's a pretty freaking good pattern.
You could find it.
I could find the ball.
You can find a ball. And I got to do, which has this posted yet?
It went live. Okay, so they're going to see this podcast in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
The fitting of Richmond Houston for GT Woods went live about 45 minutes ago.
Yes, let's go. So I did a fitting with
We filmed a whole fitting.
It's great. It's awesome.
a college
Love it.
player who, hands down, is one of the most talented players I've ever seen. Has just unbelievable athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
This kid, you know who he reminds me of is a right-handed Bubba Watson.
Yeah. He's that body, just lanky.
Yeah, but
Arms,
dude,
tall.
he's got unbelievable hands.
He can hit it.
Unbelievable
shot.
hands. And he's the type, and as you know, fitting better players. You know, when you're with better players, tour pros, things like that, every single one of those guys, at least this has been my experience, minute details, little bitty things is what they're gonna see, is what they're gonna feel, right?
Yes.
And as a fitter, certainly that can be a challenge, right? Is really trying to pinpoint those little things. So
Yes. Well,
it
nuances.
helps a ton when you have generational technology that you're using.
You bet.
That helps a ton. But the other thing is, at that point, now you got to get the shaft, right? And this fitting, I'm telling you, Todd, it was so crazy. Now, your driver, just so everybody knows, and I encourage you to, as soon as you're done watching this, go to the fitting thing. You'll love it because it's insane. I want you to watch it too.
Yes, definitely.
Because it's really cool. But dude, we were going up against AI Smoke Trippy D. Brother, there ain't a faster one. I'm telling you right now.
You all, hey, you see it every day, right? You all live it every day. That
Until now.
are you gonna make the viewers watch? Are you gonna just you gonna hear any?
I'm gonna leave it right there.
Okay.
It was faster.
Wow, it's awesome.
And
Wow.
I'm
Can't
just
wait to
telling
watch
you
it.
this. As soon as he wants the first GT3 that walks through the door.
You bet. We got a bunch coming.
We went crazy, didn't we?
If you're gonna be a bear, be a grizzly.
That's right, Big Daddy.
Huh?
another
Come
one
on.
of my favorites.
I mean, heck,
Huh?
hell's
Yeah.
bells.
Those bells. What is it? Piss on the fire and call the dogs, or
Piss on the fire and calling the dogs. Hunt
calling
over.
the dogs? Hunt
Hunt
over. Let's go.
We done found it.
Come on.
We done found it.
Dude, I can't remember a time I've been this jacked up. In fact, I'll tell you a funny story. And then we got to dive into this. So after our meeting,
Mhm.
as you know, Connor is really starting to dive into that part of the business. And I want him exposed as much as possible. But he walks up to me and, he drives me nuts. Connor, you drive me nuts sometimes. And he knows that. He'll
We
bust
love
my
Connor.
balls. I mean, it's unbelievable. And he's a big planner, right? But he's the type of guy that just sees so many things and observes so many
Yes.
cool things. So he comes up to me after our meeting. He's like, so was that like just a show? Like, were you just trying to like work Todd or like, I don't understand. I was like, no, dude, I really wasn't. Like,
Yeah.
I'm that jacked up.
I've never seen you that excited about any product.
Yeah. I haven't either. I've called on him for
I'm telling
15,
you, man,
16 years.
you had to have been internally kind of doing like cartwheels, but at the same time going,
You
this
know,
is cool.
I said, Jared's, I've never seen him this fired up about a product because you know what it means for your business and you know, and just the energy around it. You know, I thought it was the video monitor I had behind me because you saw the orders and you said you need to add, double, triple. You know, so I'm like, damn, I need to get that projector video going all the time. Well, what the hell I've been doing for 17 years? Yeah.
Well, but think about that, man. I mean, when's the last time you can remember having to go through an order that you've done? Because you're really good at it, man. I mean, you always know, you know, you're obviously you're doing your job and, you know, you're looking at previous history and maybe adding one or two or whatever, but it's always in line, right? It's not overkill. Conservative, but aggressive, right?
It's like baby bear soup.
There we go.
Just right.
Just right.
Golly.
And to go in there, I mean, and do what we did. Trust me, folks, we're going to have plenty.
Yes.
For a little while.
But it ain't gonna take long. And they'll be gone.
Yeah. Because the product's that good.
Dude, I'm telling you. What's the conversion rate, by the way, on tour right now?
Great question. I'm going to throw a few little stats out at you.
Okay.
Early on, we brought the product out at Jack's Tournament Memorial. Okay. Dozens went in the bag that week. Okay. And as you get a week or two down the road, US Open, you know, we're running typically on a full field event, Jared, we're running about 60 to 65 drivers in a full field in a full field event.
It's nearly 50%. Yeah.
Close. The next competitors anywhere from 28 to 30 pieces behind us. 28 to 30 behind us. Of those 62 to 65, we're running right around near 48 to 50 to 52 of GTs in play. Is what I'm seeing right recently.
So 80, 90%.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And it's just working some of them in, you know,
sure.
It takes a little bit of time depending on those players. Maybe they're playing somewhere else or overseas, or maybe they're just not playing some of those events. So you got to, you know, we have an unbelievable tour team out there that just, I mean, really those guys, whenever time I see them, I thank them for what they do because they're on the road 40 weeks a year, you know.
Bless their heart.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so they do a tremendous job. But the conversion rate's been phenomenal, like we've never seen before. And there's some players, one in particular, who is slow to change. And so, but
we all know the Adam Scott story. I mean, dude, it took him forever to get out of 905R.
Yeah, and so he's obviously playing the product, and obviously he's got it in gaming and as well, and several others that aren't paid at all, paid a dime. You know,
well, that's what I was about to say. You've got a lot of GTs out there with tailor-made covers on them or something.
You know,
when the day starts.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, and I think that says the most for the product is who's playing it and not getting paid to play it.
100%.
Right, and that's the case in the golf ball in a lot of cases, obviously, and then it's the case in GT. So I think that says a lot. You know, so we're running that kind of conversion rate. Already in the 85, 90%.
Well, and I'll tell you what's really great, Todd, and I'm sure you feel this way as well. You know, for those of you out there, so many times what we see on our side of the fence is, and Clinton, you can probably attest to this as well, but on our side of the fence, so many times you see people that may be afraid to even look at the Titleist line because they do look at it as, you know, a tour club. But I think for all of you that think that way, rest assured that's not the case. They have something for every handicap level. That's number one. But they have generational tech for every handicap level. In other words, they don't only make the tour guys play really good, they are going to help your game tremendously. And brother, we couldn't say that 10 years ago.
Yeah. You bring up
That's a huge change.
You bring up a good point, Jared. 7, 8, 9 years ago, we had about 12, 15 engineers. We have 80 plus now.
Wow.
So
wow,
that's the commitment they've made. And, you know, and I think you've appreciated this about Titleist, is even maybe we didn't have the hottest selling thing in your shop in club wise 7, 8 years ago, whatever, over the years, right?
Sure.
We were always in the top 3.
Absolutely.
Right. Where we have the opportunity to be number one, and they're continuing to push to do that. But, you know, to design this product, it takes time. So, you know, we have a 2-year life cycle typically, right? So, you know, we don't bring out a driver or iron or wedge or anything, but every 2 years, it just takes time to test and R&D it.
To that point, you said that he asked the engineer 6 years ago.
Yes, this product's been 6 to 7 years in the making.
So this product,
you're right.
Yeah,
well said. You nailed it.
The company pipelines are crazy, man.
Yeah,
is to get to where you are with GT today.
Yes,
was 6 years ago.
This conversation back in 2017.
Yeah.
16.
Well,
17, yeah.
How great is that vision, though? But it also, I'm telling you, it correlates. It goes right in line with exactly what I'm saying. Is, and this is what I want everybody to know. Yes, they are a player's brand in terms of, yes, the golf ball is number one on tour by 900 miles. Yes, the irons, if you look at the tour bags and stuff, you do expect to see Vokey, or you expect to see a Titleist iron, or you expect to see a Scotty Cameron putter. But what you never expected for a long time from Titleist, even when AP2 was doing its thing,
yes,
you didn't expect the full bag, right? You didn't expect, because the fairway woods, they were really built for better players. They had nice, really sleek looking top lines, and but I never could get one higher than 5-10 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Now I can.
Yeah.
Now I can. Since really the TS series that started to shift.
Yes.
But my point is this, folks, Titleist is a premium brand. They are now a premium brand. And I would even argue quite possibly the most premium of brands, meaning the golf ball's incredible. We know that. The woods now, I've said this out loud. I'll say it again. Good luck to the other companies. You've got your work cut out for you, because this stuff's good. And then the irons, man.
Yes.
I mean, from top to bottom.
We've got 350.
Now a premium line.
We got 350 that a 25 handicap can play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
200 catches that 80s guy, probably 8 to 10, 12 handicapper.
Great transitional iron, but also
A lot of combo sets with that.
There you go. Yeah.
With 150.
That's what I'm saying.
And then 100's going to be your scratch golfer, 2 or 3 handicap, or, it's going to be, our tour play club.
I've seen 10s get them, though.
Yes.
I've seen 10s get them. They're the guy that wants to practice.
Yes.
And he sees a future, and he wants something that he can.
It's not a blade. It's still a cavity back type iron.
It's got great tech in it still.
You bet. And the thing that I think separates us from the competition guys on irons is the use of tungsten. We use 80 to 100 grams of tungsten in the heel and toe in these irons. Our competition's using maybe 10 or 15, 20 if they're using tungsten. So we pump so much tungsten in the heel and toe for the forgiveness, right? And then, now your 100s, your 150s, obviously forged face on the T200, forged face on the 350. We stepped it up a level from 300, T300 to 350 with the forged face. Club's got near 100 grams of tungsten in it. That's so again, for you folks, tungsten, I'm not a metallurgist, but it's a very dense, heavy material. So you can do a lot with it and accomplish a lot with a little. I say a little. We're using quite a bit in respect to the golf club.
Yeah, but also, I mean,
SM10s, man.
You put that much weight behind where we're going to hit the ball. Now you got something.
You betcha.
Yeah.
Now you got some. One of the things I love about your irons, and honestly, I'm being honest, the way in which you guys just continue to get better and better and better.
Yes.
Your engineers, this team that you have, if there are deficiencies, say in weight or what have you, oh, they know about it.
Yes.
You don't have to tell. They know about it, and I guarantee you, the next launch will be better.
It's incredible.
And that right there,
It's exciting.
Todd, is I think it segues perfectly into the GT line. If you're gonna, like you said it best a second ago, 2-year product cycles. There's a lot of companies that don't do that. The reason why you guys can do that is when you bring it out, you can honestly look at the public and say, this is the best we got.
Yeah. Exactly.
We turned it loose on this is the best we got.
Yeah. We've been working on it for years.
You know?
Yeah.
This is the best we got,
Yeah.
and we're gonna give it to you right here.
Yeah.
Not very many companies can say that, yeah, man, the stuff the tour guys get,
Yeah.
it's right here.
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah.
It's yours. Now there's a few things, right? Like I'm not gonna sit here, but for the most part, these GT Woods, you might have the tour department, hot melt or do something like that, right?
Put some rack glue in there.
Exactly.
That's about it.
But that head is what the public's getting.
Yes, sir. Yes, because they push it to the max.
Yeah.
For
It's
speed.
so cool, man.
It is.
It's so freaking cool. And where I'm going with that is this GT series, it segues perfect because you guys have just gone berserk here. And this product is 100% better than the previous generation. And that's not to crap on TSR because I'm here to tell you, TSR was 100% better than TSI.
Yes, you bet.
Okay. So you're seeing a trend here, folks. Every single year, Titleist is telling you, yeah, we're going to switch it. All right, excuse me. Every 2 years, Titleist is telling you, yeah, we're going to switch on you. We're going to change products
And I think
because it's going to be better.
you bet with amen. And I think our consumers, our Titleist loyals appreciate that.
100% they do.
They know, that it's going to be a couple years before we come out with something. And I think it's a tribute to the company and our relationship with our consumers in that regard.
Well, and here's the facts, man. For a lot of guys, this is their hobby. Okay. So
if you're living in West Texas, it damn show your hobby.
yeah,
Ain't nothing else to do.
That's about all we got to do around
They don't
these
have
parts.
mountains and babbling brooks to trout fish in out here. I'm
that's
telling
right.
you.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it's their hobby.
Yes.
Part of the hobby, aside from playing the game, guys, is enjoying purchasing the equipment and tinkering and doing all this stuff, right?
You bet. You bet. Of course.
Well, part
We're
of
blessed.
tinkering, part of doing all that is trading in the product and going to the new product.
Yes.
Well, what's great about Titleist? Folks, it holds its value for 2 years. And then after those 2 years are up, yeah, it's going to drop a little bit, but it's going to be some of the highest values you're going to find in terms of trade. Why?
Still phenomenal.
It's the best they got.
Yes. Well said. Well
It's the
said.
best they got year in and year out. And so, with that said, please, let's start with, what do you want to start with? GT2?
Yes. Well, we can talk about two. I've got the head here. I've got the drivers.
I want to
behind.
see the deconstruction of the head.
Yes.
Let's explain the
Let's do it.
technology first.
Guys, we're really keying in on about 4 to 5 things here on the driver. Okay. Before I get into PMP, first of all, is the aerodynamics of the product. We hired a gentleman several years ago, and one of his duties, among many others, is just working on aerodynamics of golf clubs. So from the TSR, the product is a little more streamlined this way, and then from the leading edge, it's got more of a more of a taper from the front leading edge to the back. Okay, so crazy to think, but just improved aerodynamics, you can pick up a half a mile of club head speed. Okay, so this gentleman studies this intently and is obviously keeps delivering on more improved aerodynamics. So that's number one, is new improved aerodynamics. Number two is what a lot of we've been talking about today is PMP. So gentlemen, this is PMP. Okay, This is that proprietary matrix polymer. Okay, this wraps, as you can see, all the way around this driver. Jared, feel how light that is. It's like
Holy
air.
cow.
It's like air,
Yeah, there's nothing here.
right?
I mean, if I had to guess, no more than 2 grams.
Probably not. Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
That is a third of the weight of titanium. Okay, super light, and it saves us all of that weight. But what's cool about it is, Jared, I'm sorry. This product is, there is carbon out there, and carbon typically is held together with epoxy, or another word for that's glue, where this is held together with a resin. Okay, so with this resin, we can basically tune the driver how we want it to sound. Okay, so resin is what holds this PMP together. So super lightweight. So you can't hear this. You may be able to hear this, but this is PMP, folks. This is Jared's American Express black card that he has. It's really not. He does have one though. So, but this is PMP, and you can kind of hear it. It's metallic. It's got a very metallic sound to it. So we needed to save this. This is thinking beyond titanium, right? But we want to be cognizant of the sound and the feel, because we want it to sound and feel like a Titleist, and it certainly does. I think you can attribute to that, Clinton, as well. Okay, so massive weight savings here, which
Sound
frees
is
up a lot
feel,
of
right?
stuff. You bet, sound is feel, right?
Okay.
So PMP. So with that, the body, this is titanium, this body. Okay. So with what we've been able to do with this weight savings is do this split mass construction. So we're able to push weight forward, driving CG down and forward to help us with speed, as well as decrease spin, control spin. But also our competitors, nothing wrong with this. They're leaning into the forgiveness story, which is great. Okay. But what's the beauty of PMP? We can push this weight back on this product, which gives us a higher MOI, which is our forgiveness, guys.
Yeah.
So it's the best of both worlds, because they thought beyond titanium.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of a neat little story, just to the links that Titleist goes to. The engineers come to our tour guys that go out and fit the Justin Thomases, the Jordan Spieths of the world, and they look at this prototype, and it's got these seams in it, right? All the seams here where the PMP is, and like, oh, that looks great, but what's going on with these lines? Well, that's our prototype driver. No. We got our guys aren't going to want to look at these seams and lines. So they go back to the drawing board, fill in this with a resin bonding material, polish it off, and then obviously paint it with all deep, we call it a piano black lacquer paint, that deep black paint. So it's pretty cool.
It's seamless.
Yep. Right? So seamless thermoform crown, which is made of PMP. Okay. Then the next thing is the titanium that's in the face. So this is ATI titanium. So a lot of this is a high grade titanium that only a few select companies in the world use. So this titanium in the face, super fast, and it's very malleable, can move very thin. But what we've done is called a VFT, variable face thickness, thicker in the center, and then it's thinned out around the perimeter, so it gives us that speed all the way across the face on this titanium. The best money can buy. Okay, and we're the only one that have it in our driver, this VFT. So this type of titanium. So you kind of combo it all together, and you got a hell of a package. And then just from the standpoint of this, the viewers may not be able to see this, but basically we also, just a cosmetic thing, is we basically updated the face graphics on the face, kind of call that the lipstick, the cosmetic. But when you set it down, it kind of frames the ball in better on the tee. We had guys on the tour kind of drawing, taking Sharpie pens on the TSR and drawing lines on the face. So we kind of had to, do some tweaking there to that, and did that on the face as well.
Heck yeah.
Well, that's so really, really cool stuff. But there's going to be, as you guys know, we've talked about, there's going to be 3 models, the GT2, 3, and 4. The 2 is going to be a little bit, tend to be a little, higher launching, a little more of a mid spin. And then the 3 is going to be a little bit, obviously, deeper face, a little bit lower launch, lower spin. Now, what you could say in theory is the GT2 would be for someone who hits it all over the face. Okay. Not to say that there's just about as many GT2s on tour as there are 3s, right? Some guys are better drivers of the ball than others. So the GT2 is 460cc, like the GT3, but it's going to give you a fuller body look. And for some people, that breeds confidence, right? That fuller look. The 3 is going to be for someone who typically hits it in the center of the face, or when they do miss, they miss the heel or on the heel or toe. Yeah. But it's not all over the face. Their miss is consistent. In theory, when you're fitting, and you guys do it every day here, you would move that weight in the GT3, which has the weight in the bottom, as you know, behind the miss to give you more hammer behind the miss. Okay. And then the 4 is going to be that lower spin, 430cc, lower spin, lower launch driver. That'll be, I think, a small percentage of our sales, but you guys, you can flip some weights there because the 4 has 2 different weights in it, front and back. So you can do some flipping there of those weights and accomplish some things too in the GT4. But end of the day, vast majority of our sales will be in the 2 and the 3 on that as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. On that same tip, same SureFit tip that we've had since 910. So if there's a gentleman that he's got a particular shaft he's fond of, and he may fit into the newer model shaft that we offer, which we have 4 great, what we call, stock shafts or whatever, the real deal shafts, and the 1K black, the Tensei blue, hazardous smoke, 5th gen, and then the Denali, which is kind of our lighter weight shaft, Denali red, which is our lighter weight shaft, more of a mid-launch, mid-spin shaft on that as well. Yeah. So on that. So again, he could put that shaft in there if he desired to do that. Okay.
So I was sitting here making notes, but just a couple things real quick. So I do want to make sure that this is clear. Just a second ago, you were talking about the face, and you were talking about the titanium and best money can buy and variable face thickness. To make that abundantly clear, it's not the only driver with VFT. It's the only driver with this grade of titanium.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah. And so VFT is a cool thing for sure, but the real point there is this titanium is not used by anyone else on the market.
That's correct.
This titanium is special. It's a next level.
Yes.
Right. And then the other thing I just wanted to go back to real quick, because I'm curious. In your I don't know if y'all have a metric for this or not, but in your research of consumership, right, I know at one point 80% of the buying decision of the consumer was based on what they heard,
sound of
the club. Is that still true, or has that gone up?
Jared, to be honest, I haven't heard any stats on that, but it is very important.
Yeah.
And
sounds feel, right, Todd?
Yes, sir. And I promise you, we spend a lot of time and energy on sound, big time. It has to sound good, right? And we spend a lot of time on sound and feel. So without question, that's a barometer of everything we make, be it metals or irons.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think that's probably the best change. And this happened several years ago, just so everybody knows. But, Titleist back in like the 905R era. And for those that don't know, this was right before like the 910 came out. The 910 was a revolutionary product for Titleist. I think that really started this new era of great woods, great metals, as it should be called. But Titleist back in the day, hopefully I'm not out of bounds here, but back in the day it was more of a thwack that you would hear.
Yes.
Kind of a dull, kind of thwack sound. Yeah. What I think has muffled, what I think is brilliant that you guys have done is you've kept you've kept what that was.
Yeah.
But you changed the pitch.
Yeah. Well said.
Does that make sense? Like it's still that feel off the face where you can feel just the ball compress off the face, which is super important.
Yes.
In my opinion, for your product. It's super important. So it doesn't feel hard off the face, which is what that old sound kind of gave you.
Yeah. It's a good analogy.
So as that
Yeah.
pitch came up,
yeah,
I know for a guy that's just super feely, which is what I am.
yeah.
As that pitch came up a little bit, that feel
Yeah.
became melty, right?
Yeah.
It was awesome.
The
Sure.
sound began to match the feel.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
bro.
Yeah.
You know, because the thwack was like,
Yeah.
it just felt hard.
That felt different than it sounded. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great analogy. And, I picked up some yards with the driver, certainly. I just noticed my mishits were better. And I just love the way it sets at address. I mean, but I was 56 years old yesterday, babe. Did I look like 56 or
I didn't know.
Wait.
that, dude.
86.
Happy birthday,
Happy
bro.
birthday, man.
56 yesterday? Well, I'm hanging in.
Looking good
I'm
for
above ground.
56.
56, looking 36.
Oh
Big
man,
Daddy.
you just tell that to my wife. And so, but to me, I mean, I grew up playing laminated and persimmon woods. Remember, I told you I worked for Powerbuilt. Well, they did a persimmon wood with the brass backweight, and that's what I grew up playing, persimmon woods. I mean, to me, I kind of, in my mind, I've kind of think, you know what? I feel like it's a modern day persimmon wood feel. In my mind, just what I felt playing a persimmon wood many, many, many years ago. But the feel and the sound, to your point, is important, and they nailed it on this driver.
Catching it in the
100%.
screws.
That's exactly. That's right.
Well, I think the other thing that they nailed, and I think, by the way, you guys have nailed this last several years. I think it's funny. I had an old Callaway guy years and years ago. He doesn't work for the company anymore, to my knowledge. But it's when they were really struggling with like Diablo and crap like that. And so R11, as you may remember, came out, the white one.
Yeah.
And I just never will forget what he was like, oh, you mean the fishing lure company? And I went, TaylorMade sells fishing gear? I didn't know that. And he's like, no, you idiot. Like,
The driver.
yeah, we call it a fishing lure because it just attracts people to the rack because it's white. And I went, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Well, it's interesting that in a world where, customize your driver, right? Make it blue, red, yellow, pink, whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
The world of turbulators with ping, right? The world of carbon. Okay. You've always had like this beautiful, just
So gorgeous.
traditional, glossy, beautiful look.
Deep black or like a deep gray.
Yeah,
We've been
man.
doing the deep black for the last few rotations. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
That's our lane.
it
though.
really is though. And
You
again, I think it speaks to, it's just premium. It's
Thanks.
sleek. It's like
Thank
a,
You're
it's
always
like a,
hitting a classic.
yeah, there you go, Connor.
Yes.
Well,
Something
something
Connor fell asleep back there.
I did
Yeah.
too.
he always comes in with these lines, and you're just like, it's
Yeah.
the perfect line
Yes.
for the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
Titleist knows what they do well, and they continue to stay there and do it well.
That's right.
Yes.
You always know what you're going to get,
Yeah.
right? But to that point, it kind of segues into this. I've always thought that the Titleist driver, whether it was the 3 or the 2, right? I always think that the Titleist driver, because of that beautiful, glossy, traditional, just, WYSIWYG, right? What you see is what you get. It's just a beautiful look. I've always thought that the framing of the driver was really good. And what do I mean by framing is just when you set up, looking down at the ball, it frames really well. It gives you that, it's you know what it is? It's confidence inspiring.
Promotes confidence.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
So my question to you is, at address for all those that may want to know, the GT2, is it a little closed? Is it neutral? Is the face a little open? Speak to that about GT2, 3, and 4.
The 3 is going to be a little more neutral to open. The 2 will be slightly closed, but they do a great job of not say masking, that was the appropriate word, but just the way that what they've done on the toe relief.
Correct.
Just when you set it down, it doesn't. I mean, you set drivers down. I've set them down in the past, and the face looks like it's this. I'm like, I'm gonna hook this dead left. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm a real visual guy, like a lot of us are, right? And so that thing has got to sit down there, right? It's got to look square to me. I mean, to each his own, right? But you just, to me, it's got to be a square looking driver head. And they've done a masterful job of continuing to do that.
By the way, they really got into that, in my opinion. The 2 Series started getting very competitive in that TSI 2 year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, I think it was for a couple of reasons. I think when y'all changed the CG that year, made the driver spin just a little less, as well as changed that boxiness of the toe. It didn't look as closed, in other words, or as upright.
Yeah.
I think that's really where it started to change. And this year's too. I
It's
said
almost
that
like,
thing.
it's like it's just like it's the same CCs as the GT3.
Right.
But to me, it looks like almost like a little larger big brother to the 3.
Yeah, it's like we
Right.
just took the 3 and just kind of pancaked it, right?
Yeah.
Like just kind of pressed it down.
Yes, well said. The,
Gave it a
the
little bit
profile is very similar.
Yeah.
It is. And, again, all of our products have been great. There's a couple of models. The TSI 2, to me, again, some people teach his own. The 2 had a little more of a triangular back
Correct.
to it. Not
Yeah.
a big triangular, but it was to my eye, it just didn't suit my eye, but I played the 3,
Well, the triangular look to me made it look a little shut.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's 907-esque.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, exactly.
there was a 907
Exactly.
D2. Yeah.
That-
Right.
it
But
was
again,
a
you go back to
yeah,
that
yeah.
year, the top of that driver, holy cow, just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So-
of them.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
All of them. Beautiful. Okay. So I'm sorry, Clint, I got a couple other things here.
You're good.
So we've talked about the framing. The other thing was, and this is where I get super jacked up. So I was talking to a guy the other day here in the shop. He was wanting to look at the left-handed ping 10K, which we were waiting on one to come in. And long story short, I was like, listen, man, I want you to hit that. I think it'd be a great driver for you to try. But if you're in the mood to try drivers, we just got these in, and I took him over and I showed him the GT fitting product that we now have, hint, hint. And I was like, before you do anything, you're hitting this.
Yeah.
Okay. And so one of the things I was talking to him about, because the very first thing he called me on the GT2 it just so happened to be the one I picked up first. That was it. But he's like, man, I don't know about that, man. That GT2, I mean, is it going to get real spinny? I typically like spin, and I'm sitting there in my head. I'm like, well, you're looking at the ping. It's a little lower profile to me, and you're going to probably spin that one as well. And then it hit me as well. I was like, well, you're not going to spin this GT2 more than you're going to spin that one, most likely.
Yeah.
Type of thing, right?
Sure.
But here's what I was talking to him about, and I want to touch on this because I think it's super cool. So in these fittings that we do, guys, yeah, the head's important, and getting the right head for you is important, and the shaft, it's very important, yes. But when we start talking about that launch, those launch numbers, the ball speed's going to be generational already, okay? But when we start talking about launch and we start talking about the spin data, and this is a very big concern for people out here in West Texas, here's what's great. We can change that. So that GT2, it comes in and it's got the the standard weight that's in the back, which is how many grams, Todd? Do you know off the top?
That's 9 in that.
That's 9. Yeah. Okay. So 9 grams in the back. Well, we actually have kits, and we'll also have the weights in stock, so that when you're here, you can take your driver home with you. You don't have to wait and things like this. But all we have to do, guys, is if we're spinning that GT2 just a little too high, we'll remove that 9. We'll go -2 or -4 in the back. We'll take it down to 7, or we'll take it down to 5.
You bet.
And you know what that spin's going to do? It's going to drop.
Yeah.
We can affect their spin with a weight change, Todd.
That's amazing.
Anywhere from 400 to maybe even 1,000 RPMs.
Yes.
One little weight.
Just off the weight.
Isn't that crazy?
And we can also customize that swing weight, right, guys? So if we find that it's just a skosh heavy from the top, we're just losing, but the shaft profile's right, we can make that change.
Yes. It's awesome. Powerful. It's,
Todd,
and
that's a huge thing.
And it's great that you got left-handed heads too to fit with, because lefties kind of get the shaft on that, right?
Yeah.
No pun intended, but
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's good. You have those, but yeah, it's next level, and it's really cool. What you can do on that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you're one of the few companies that really focus on that idea of, again, this is a tour quality thing.
Yes.
Okay. And that's not to say that other companies can't switch weights. Okay. Okay. I get it. It's not like, you're new to the party there, but the effect of those weights is the key.
Yes. You bet it is.
That's the key. And you touched on something a minute ago, and I think it's so brilliant because it's not talked about enough. But that variable face thickness, where that weight is behind the face on that
3.
awesomeness of titanium that we have.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. What's really cool about that is it puts weight where we need it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is just a little, what am I trying to say? A little snippet. Is that a word? Snippet?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that works.
Sure.
From the Richmond fitting.
Mm-hmm.
But brother, he could feel the toe weight.
Mm-hmm.
He felt the weight of the toe increase on the GT3 versus the 2, and it was absent again in the 4.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep.
Let's talk about that. Why?
On the 4, it's just
Why didn't he feel any toe weight on that 4? Because it is a little more right bias, correct?
yes. Yeah, but again, with the 3, you've got the slider there,
Correct.
behind that face there, where you can move that weight.
Yeah.
There's a T1 or a T2 position, and you've got different added weights you can do there too. You
Yeah.
can go all the way up to +6
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that VFT on the 3 spreads out, so it makes sense that he would feel a little bit more.
possibly so.
To where, because it's a little more forgiving than the 4. The 4 is more in the center.
It is.
Correct?
It is typically, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. And again, at the end of the day, the 4 is a great driver, but that'll be probably 5 to 10% of our sales at most.
Well, that's for the really high launch guy,
Yeah, high spin.
high spin guy.
I kind of look at it like this as you compare it to our iron line. GT2 is like a T350 or T200.
Well said.
GT3 is like a 150.
Yep.
100. The 4 is like a blade,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
If
It's a
you
great
wanna
way to look at it.
100%.
right
Yeah.
on that. So, and depending on the profile of launch and spin for someone, they may fit in some, it may work out where they fit into a 4, depending,
Yeah.
but again, it's going to typically be someone who's, a more astute player, playing that 4, on that as well.
Back to the shafts, and I just want to throw this out there real quick. You mentioned you had 4 great stock options. Now, again, correct me if I'm wrong here, but didn't you guys get the only Tensei 1K matte black shaft that they made?
I believe so.
That was proprietary to you guys,
Yeah.
which I think speaks to how much confidence they have in you guys. Right?
Great shaft.
Yeah.
The shaft that was the shaft that is still is carrying over from TSR, because the company is very high on that shaft. It in testing it compares very favorable to Ventus Black.
Yeah.
Which is an excellent shaft, right? But a pricey shaft. So the 1K Black is going to continue on in the line, but the company's very pleased at that shaft and very high on that shaft for that player profile.
I think another cool thing that we talked about in our meeting is Titleist has a great relationship with Graphite Design.
Yes.
So, folks, you're going to have the opportunity at launch. Right here in this shop, we're going to have multiple drivers with
Fairways.
and fairways with Graphite Design DI, VF, UB, XC, which I believe is what you got fitted for.
Yep.
It's so cool to see XC, dude. And I'll tell you why. How sick does your driver look with
It's
the
so
murdered
cool.
out?
It is so cool.
The
All
XC
black,
is
yeah.
the XC, for those that don't know, that's a Graphite Design shaft that is black.
All
It's
black.
just all black. So he's got the murdered out GT3, and it's the sickest setup ever. And by the way, so did Z, right?
I believe so. So does he. Something that shocked me about that is I'm not big on heavy weight,
Mm-hmm.
but I fit into the XC7X,
Okay. Wow.
but it didn't. It
That's
balanced.
because it balanced.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
Mhm.
why. Because they have more mass in the heads, man. The
Yeah.
heads have a great head weight.
It shocked me,
You know?
because he told me, he goes, okay, we're gonna try this XC7X, and I'm like, And I just like flashback, right? These PTSD of all the heavy shafts I've ever tried, but like first swing out the gate, oh okay, this doesn't feel that way at all.
Yes,
this is incredible.
Yeah.
By the way, he did a great job.
He did.
Excellent.
Anthony.
Yep.
Yeah, Anthony's a great fitter. We're blessed to have him out here in West Texas. He's
And
out of Lubbock.
I just want to say thank you to you, because we were supposed to go to OCC that day, but you worked around our schedule and we got to do our fittings here in the shop. So thank you for organizing that for us.
Well, glad it worked out, and glad we could work it out.
Yeah.
But it's good, great stuff. And like I said, great. We have a good partnership with Graphite Design.
Yeah.
So so we can offer that product, in shops, in some of the shops at a little less price.
Yeah.
Than it normally would be.
Correct.
With those shafts.
That's where I was going with that. We're going to offer a nice value there.
Sure.
Where it doesn't sting quite as bad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And but you know what? We've got 4 great shafts that are probably going to fit 95% of the profile of your customer that walks through that door. Right.
Yeah.
And that's have all those to fit with.
I'm glad you said it that way, Todd, because that's really why I wanted to mention the shafts. I mean, we have 4 great stock options with this product. And by the way, that's not the only 4 shafts that are no upcharge, right?
Yes.
There's probably 50-ish shafts in the Titleist matrix that are offered at
in fact,
no upcharge.
You just jarred something in my memory. Actually, just last night, they just emailed us the Q3 custom options book. So I'll forward that to you guys.
Oh, fantastic!
Right, so that just dropped last night.
Sweet.
So,
but here's the point I'm making on those 4 stock options. Guys, if you're a low launch person and need to be able to launch it, they have a shaft for you. If you're a really high launching person and need to bring that flight down, they've got something for you. Or if you're kind of that, I always call it the blue board profile, right? If you're kind of that blue board profile, which means what? You're kind of a mid-launch person, you're low to moderate spin rate, right? They also have a phenomenal option there for you. And that's going to be like the vast majority of us need to be playing that type of profile.
Yeah.
And you guys actually have 2 great options for that profile.
yes.
So it's super exciting on that side. My question is, how about the correlation in the flow from the driver to the fairway wood?
You bet. So to your point, like the driver, the fairway wood is using this PMP also.
Bingo.
Right? Which in a lot of ways, especially for a fairway wood, because you're hitting it off the ground, a lot of time is even more beneficial because remember, we're on drivers, this is replacing titanium. In fairways, my friends, it's replacing stainless steel, which is heavier than titanium. Right? So when you're replacing that with this, CG's lower, what's the ball do? Ball get up.
Launch faster.
So on the GT2 head, it'll have this wraparound design, like the driver.
Isn't that something?
Okay. And the 3, it'll be the crown will have PMP because of just a different design. So, unbelievable on what we've done on the fairway woods with this. So this is opened up a whole new avenue for us with fairway woods with that lower CG to get the ball up and control spin though.
And you already had some technology in those fairway woods to help. Also, the L cup.
Yes. Now that was only offered in one model last year. It's in both models
this year.
The basically you've got a body of stainless. Like so, this is driver's titanium, but this is a fairway wood I was holding. This body would be stainless steel, right? Then you got PMP, and then it's a Japanese spring steel, we call it. That is basically high grade stainless. We can make it super thin, super fast, and it wraps around just a quarter of an inch on the leading edge of the fairway wood. So, and I know you guys have never hit a thin fairway wood in your life, right? Out here. I mean, hitting the fairways out here are like tighter than Dick's hat band. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just like this carpet right here, or maybe tighter. So this L cup though, it allows you to controls the spin on those thin shots.
Yeah.
And I tell you something too. I'm a visual guy. I grew up playing persimmon woods, right? Scotch blade, blade irons, right? And so they also, that leading edge profile, the way they gave the heel and toe relief and what they've done to the leading edges helps turf entry, if you will, turf interaction.
Mm-hmm.
But to your eye, it gives a longevity. It gives a more of a lengthier look to the fairway wood, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Which I think breeds confidence, right? It gives it just a more visual, I would say, aesthetic profile when you set it at address.
On the framing of the fairway woods, this is my opinion. I don't think there's a more beautiful fairway wood to look down at. And by the way, that goes back to old school.
And Jared, hey, we wouldn't argue this. Fairways they're hard to hit a lot of times for people.
Yeah, but I think the biggest battle is looking down at it. For me,
well said. Amen. You have to have confidence.
Yeah,
you can get this up in the air.
I went several years without playing a fairway wood because I just couldn't find one that I felt like I could get in the air.
I tell you another thing we did with the TSR on the fairway wood when they redesigned it, you could see a little bit of the face in it, and we painted the scoring lines all the way across the face on it. So visually, your mind saw a little more face with the fairway wood, which obviously breeds confidence to get the ball up in the air, right?
100%.
So, and you've got that look with this 100%. One as well.
Now, you mentioned before, not today, I'm just saying this was, I want to say it might have been with the R launch.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't y'all use, as far as the top line of the fairway wood,
mm-hmm.
didn't y'all use an older fairway wood that you had from the past in terms of that inspiration?
Yeah, they drew, and Jared, forgive me, I feel like they drew off like a 913 or something,
I think
or 915. Something they had drawn off a previous model, and they did that with the hybrids as well. From like a 913 hybrid, 915, they did that in the hybrids. Now, guys, just a segue real quick on that. Hybrids are not changing until spring. Okay, so there won't be a GT hybrid, and also GT1, which is the lighter head, right? TSR1 now is what we have, right? So those will not be introduced to the PGA show.
Yeah, so they're going to have more like a March launch, probably.
Yes, sir. Just while we're on that subject,
yeah.
While we bounce, but just so you know,
they are coming.
So they are coming. So
okay,
and I just shipped you some TSR hybrids, so we'll be good.
Yeah, that was a big one. We've been out of hybrids, and I'm glad you caught that one because I think a lot of people, and maybe you can shed some light on this. I think a lot of people when they come in, they're like, "Well, crap, I want a hybrid too."
Yeah.
Why do y'all split it like that? As far as the launches go,
I just think from a standpoint of launching the product correctly and on time, there's only so much space and in workforce that you have.
Sure.
Right. So I think to stage it like that, it helps us with delivery.
Sure.
Helps you do it right.
Right. Staging the product, buying the product, sourcing, all the things we do behind the scenes, but you got to.
Maybe helps you not have to allocate.
Exactly.
The drivers and stuff.
So cognizant of not only their employees, but the stores they're trying to serve to make sure that they serve a great product on time with plenty of stock.
Exactly. And it's just, I think too, the company's brilliant in this. I feel like it also in some way kind of keeps as we get 6 months into the line, it kind of keeps the momentum going. Now there's hot GT hybrids and you got GT1, right? We'll probably release an all black iron in the spring, right? Because, this time next year, there'll be a new T-Series iron line, right? Because it will have been 2 years, right? So just things like that. I just think how they plan things out like that, it makes sense and helps us in our business model. But, you got to realize they're still out of that factory. They're still pumping out a bunch of SM10 wedges and Scotty Cameron putters and T-Series irons, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of other things going on, with in that factory out there, which we've expanded several times with our growth in golf clubs. So that's how we're going to grow as a company. Knock on wood. The golf ball's just the best, and we got the highest market share. It's crazy, and we're growing in golf ball, which is wonderful. Obviously, there's been a boom from COVID.
Really cool story. And I talked to you this on Monday. They created a golf ball designed for TrackMan.
Yes, RCT.
Oh, yeah,
The RCT golf ball, which was if you haven't, go watch the video on it and read the article. Not only do they have the #1 golf ball on tour and in all of golf, now they're jumping into the fitting and number side and giving you a golf ball that performs on launch monitors.
You bet. It's pretty cool. That was a collaboration with TrackMan that's went on
Really
for
cool.
years. And it's crazy, but you guys, and you probably have no guys that have them. I mean, people have TrackMan in their home. And so they can buy those balls to use a TrackMan at home, but it's just much more accurate tracking, obviously, on that.
This will be a fun one.
And those are for purchase. I mean, those are tour deals. You could purchase those here.
Oh yeah, and there's several people that are going to watch this that I think have TrackMans and stuff at their house.
They're going to call.
If you need any of those, we can get them. That's easy.
Yep. And VX.
I may have a couple in my office actually still.
Yeah.
Real quick, Jared.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about shafts earlier, and we talked about like 8, like the 4 stock options, the 4 from Graphite Design, and I feel like that really speaks to the quality of the head, because I've been told by vendors before, like, man, we have like 2 really good shafts. We want a stock works really well with this head, and I don't feel like it should be that way. I feel like you should be able to work with most of the shafts in the matrix. So
yeah, for sure.
Being able to adjust that profile from mid launch to low launch to even high launch in some instances, that kind of speaks to the quality of the head, and it's properly weighted. You don't have to have a shaft that's really heavy in the hands to balance it out, to make it work. Like, you can put anything in there and make those adjustments, and it'll help the player. Like, you don't have to have something that is very specific, and like, you don't have to have, an inch or a half inch longer driver shaft to counteract that swing weight change. Like, it is properly weighted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good point.
And to piggyback off that, Connor, one of the biggest things, there's all kinds of different fitters, right? There's all kinds of different fitting theories. And I would say that it's kind of like teaching lessons. Everybody kind of has their own style, their own, what have you. And certainly that as a teacher, right, you're going to take a student that you have, and it's going to be, you've got to kind of tailor that lesson to them, and very much so the same way with fitting. But to your point, Connor, if you have a great head, there's no reason in the world why the head should be the first thing you're fitting for. You should be getting a shaft profile, a weight profile, because all things considered, we should use that head to perform based on what the player needs. And if we get that shaft right, we should be able to plug it into that really good head, right?
Yes.
And we can change where that player impacts that head. So for an example, if you just grab the GT2 and, this guy was hitting it off the toe and it's no good, well, that doesn't mean you can't use the GT2 still.
Sure, exactly. And to kind of spin off of both of y'all's comments, which are excellent, the head is still, at the end of the day, is the most important. You hear people say,
shaft's most important.
Shaft's the engine, yeah.
So, I mean, I guess you could say, Connor, your point, the head's the engine, the shaft's the transmission.
Yeah.
If
I
you
like
look at it that way.
That's a great way to look at it, in my opinion.
So, but
for sure.
The head is the most important. Let's not forget that. But obviously, shaft works in hand in hand with that. With it, you bet.
Well, let's see what your prediction is. So, and feel free, jump in, correct me where I'm wrong. Market share. Titleist. #1 in ball.
Yes.
Okay. Let's you know what? This will be fun. We'll take a Cushnet as a company. So for those that don't know, a Cushnet company is Titleist and FootJoy brands.
Cushnet Holdings.
Right?
Titleist Titleist FootJoy,
Mhm.
Juice Clothing,
Mhm.
Links and Kings,
Mhm.
Leather Goods, and Club Glove. Yep. We bought Club Glove.
I didn't know y'all bought Club Gloves.
Yeah, bought Club Glove last year.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. So that's the
So
brands.
okay, you're probably number one in travel gear now too. So
Why not?
okay, well I know it's number one on tour.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Mhm.
Okay, market share. FootJoy,
And yep.
clear number one. Titleist golf ball, clear number one. Vokey wedges, number one.
Mhm.
Scotty Cameron putters, I think at dollars
Close.
sold is one or two.
Yeah, it's one or two. It's
Right.
we're not in the unit game there.
Yeah,
Right.
not in the unit game, but
Yeah.
dollars
Yes.
is
Close. Yeah.
is really close.
Mhm.
It's you and Odyssey kind of battle that out.
Hmm.
Bags and stuff. I don't know. Hats. You've
By
got to
a
be
mile.
Yeah, you've got to be won by 10,000 miles. I mean, I know in here it's 80% Titleist hats and then well, maybe 90% and then everybody else,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Your prediction 2025
Mhm.
driver fairway. Where are you going to be?
The goal's number one. You bet. As you know, guys know the driver market, metals market, let's call it, irons market, it's a little more fragmented. I mean, if you're 20% share in that market, 18 to 20% share, you're rocking.
Oh, you're killing it.
Yeah. So a little bit more scattered
Yeah.
there. And there's a lot of great irons out there. Okay. So, and a lot of good drivers and metals, but I really feel this product's going to push us over the top, Jared.
I do too.
I really do.
Listen, I would have never gone as aggressive as we went if I didn't believe that.
I mean, I've worked with you for 15, 16 years now.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know,
15.
your
Yeah.
Titleist is a bigger part of your business, but I've never seen you that. I mean, you've always been fired up about Titleist products because you believe in the product and the company, right?
Yeah.
And
y'all do it right.
Thank you. But when we met this week, I could tell your enthusiasm and your zeal and your energy for how really good this product is.
Yeah. It's
And you're already seeing it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those when people walk through this door, there's a really good chance. Even if you're not here for a driver. Hey man, I was just looking for some shorts. Hey, have you seen this new Titleist driver?
You bet. It's that good.
I mean, it's that good.
Yeah.
I've already told my buddies, I'm like, let me just tell you something. Pre-order the Titleist driver.
Yeah.
Just trust me. My buddy Kramer just bought one not too long ago. He's got the R.
Mhm.
Great player. Hits it a mile. And he's like, nah, Pods, I'm good, man. I got this one. I hit it really good. I hit it straight. It's right where I'm looking. I'm like,
TSR is a great driver. It's phenomenal.
I was like, yeah, man, it's awesome. You're getting one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
We want to make it better, right?
That's right.
Keep moving the
right.
bar.
Well, and man, it's just, you got to do it. You got to do it.
And what's cool too, like I've met all these folks out in California, and you know, there's a metals team, and then there's an irons team, then there's a wedge team, then there's a putter team. You know what I mean? So all these folks they're all gelling and ginning on the same project, right? You know what I'm saying? So you got all these teams, you know, and they all cross collaborate on some things too, more so wedges and irons, right? Makes sense. Right. But it's really cool to see what they've built out there and the investment the company's made out there to take it to the next level in golf clubs. There's no reason we shouldn't be number one in clubs with what we're producing now. And the name is obviously premium, as you said.
There's your answer.
His prediction, folks.
Number one.
Number one. You're saying it's
and the University of Alabama as well.
Rodan time. Is your prediction just? I'm assuming since it's at the consumer level, your prediction is also on the tour level number one.
Yeah, we're doing that right now.
He's like, they're already there.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
just wanted to give you one more shot at saying it.
no, it's just, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, but
It's awesome.
But this, guys. You see this every day. If you told your consumer walking through that door this morning that Titleist has been number one driver on the tour for the last 3 or 4 years, they'd look at you like you're crazy.
No, they would think it was Titleist or TaylorMade or Callaway.
Yeah, and it's been us, and usually irons and wedges.
Mhm.
There was a stretch there over about a year's time, and we still have done some of this recently, where you've done a clean sweep across the board. That had only been done, when I say a clean sweep, that's wedge, iron, putter, driver, fairway,
Golf ball.
and ball across the board.
And shoes.
And shoes. And then when I say clean sweep, I'm yeah, you're right. That's true as well. But I'm looking at it on the club front.
Right.
Yeah.
That had only been done 2 times in the last 20 years,
Both
22, 24 years, twice by us, twice only. It was last year into this year, the last couple of years, we've done that over like 20, 25 times, I believe it is.
It's amazing, dude.
And what's
Maybe
crazy-
more. I haven't seen them.
TaylorMade.
Yeah. So what's crazy
It's
is
incredible.
he talks about market share as a whole being, if you're doing 18, 20%, you're killing it. On tour, they're like 42%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we're running about that range on the driver.
Yeah.
And irons in that range. Wedges, 55, 57%. Got a guy out there, Aaron Dill, who's phenomenal. His team, I mean, just awesome. Vokey wedges, and they've just assembled a great team there too. But he's running 55 to 57, 58%. I've seen some this year on the wedges out there.
I think too, it's a testament to your company. I mean, y'all do a phenomenal job of listening to your players. The wedges, they missed the mark a couple years ago. A lot of the tour guys were playing either a previous gen or, whatever, right? I know that Jared Turner, for an example, had a tough time, and I can't remember which series it was. But all of a sudden, they bring that CG back up. I think it was one of the years they brought the CG down just a pinch, and they brought it back up in the wedge.
Yeah.
And everything's all good.
Yeah.
They
Fantastic.
they went back to what the players wanted. And I think, by the way, I think you were still number one in sales and also on tour
Still.
that time
Yeah.
that they had that
Yeah.
change.
And I tell
And
you
that's not to
something.
say it was a bad change.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know the stat on this, like the actual stat, but you keep up with what the winners have in their bags each week, even if they're a, bleep out this company name guy, and they have 2 wedges
I'm going to forget
in the
to bleep
bag.
that.
Yeah.
You're going to forget to bleep it out. But I've seen them. They'll have a 52 and a 60 in that wedge.
You ready? Scotty Scheffler,
Xander
Mhm.
Schauffele.
They'll have one Vokey,
TaylorMade
one Vokey,
player,
and that's their favorite wedge.
plays Vokey wedges.
So
They'll
lot to
sneak
be
it
said.
in.
No, it's phenomenal. So it's they do a great job. That team does. It's a pleasure to sell that product. And then something too, like you said, listen to consumers. You brought that point up in tour players as well. Obviously, is where that's our testing ground, right? But something that we've leaned into the last year or two is also the lightweight wedges with lightweight shafts, and
Yes.
right, with the lightweight steel, the graphite, which you all carry those guys. So that's something we're leaning into too, because if old Mr. Jones is, if he's hitting some 350s with some light shafts in them, he probably doesn't need to go into that dynamic gold, 200 wedge shaft or whatever. We got that lightweight dynamic gold lightweight for him, or that Tensei, right, for that guy, right? So that's something we've kind of trying to embrace and open our arms up to those folks to the idea of playing Vokey wedges, but we had to do a little tweak in there with just that offering in shafts.
Sure.
Well, that's what's cool about the opportunity that you guys gave us at our shop. I mean, we have the components. I mean, we basically have a tour van in our repair room. We have all your component iron heads, but here's the big one. You want a wedge like the tour players have? We got them.
Yeah,
Those raw heads, they come in. The lightest raw head I've ever seen is 300 grams, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And by the way, just so I don't know if you know this, but I'm sure you do. But okay, so there was used to between the raw heads and what was on the rack, right? The stock wedges. there was a discrepancy between head weights, right? So a 50 degree would be, let's just say 292, and the raw would be 301, right?
Yeah.
Or 300. That doesn't exist anymore. The SM10s are a beautiful head weight.
Yes.
And it's really awesome that they made that small little change because it doesn't seem like much, 4 to 6 grams, but now you actually have that tour type head experience all the way through the line.
Yes.
So if you want a chrome, what is it, brushed chrome or what do you call it?
Nickel. It used to be brushed
nickel.
steel.
Nickel.
Brushed
Nickel.
nickel.
You're right, Con. It used to be brushed. It's called nickel now. We got nickel, jet black, and tour chrome.
Tour chrome.
And
That's
obviously,
what I was looking for.
raw.
So if you just want a tour chrome wedge, and you don't want a raw wedge, that's a tour wedge. Well, buy one because they're the same.
Yeah, and you know this, and you know it's important. We got all the bounces and grinds, man. We got got it covered. I'm glad we brought that M grind in the 54 back.
Oh,
remember we didn't have that in the 8 or the 9. You'd always beat me up about that.
You're right.
You know,
Yeah.
but and that's a big seller out here.
Well, that one, and I'll tell you the other one, man. That people just, I don't know why, but it was funny because Cody was like, "Man, why are we carrying this 54F grind to me?" Not too long ago. Well, this was like a year or two ago, and I was like, "Bro, that's like our number one selling bounce when we have them." He went, "Really?" He's like, "I didn't even know we had that." I was like, "Yeah, bro. That's a very underrated bounce. That 5414F grind."
Vokey says, "Bounce is your friend."
Absolutely. And that, when they added that, I thought it was brilliant.
Yes.
They also have that D grind that's a 12 that kind of gives you that heel and toe relief of the M.
Yes.
So
good addition as well.
Oh, well, it gives you best of both worlds. You've got that heel and toe relief around the green, right?
Yes.
But you also have the higher bounce for full shots out of the fairway.
Yes, exactly.
Right? It's kind of boardwalk and park place.
That definitely.
So good.
So good.
Good stuff. Great.
Well, Todd, thanks for being on.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. We think the world of you and appreciate you.
August 20th is the launch.
No, the in stores the 23rd of August.
23rd of August.
It's a Friday.
August 23rd, GT Woods will be fully in stock in stores. For sure here, we're going to have every shaft option pretty much available to you right off the bat. And the beautiful thing is you don't have to wait till the 23rd to get fit. You can call now and come into the store and get fit for your GT Woods driver and fairway right now, right this second, and be one of the first ones to have it.
Yeah, and should be in theory if they order would get it in before the launch date.
So if we ordered now, it'll ship pretty quickly.
Yes, sir. It'll ship on out. So
even
awesome.
more reason to come get fit today.
Well, and I'm going to say this, and okay, am I doing this to create urgency? Dang right I am. We've got 80-ish drivers. Is it more than that we ordered?
Yeah.
Folks, we've already got a list like this. Yeah, I've got a bunch coming. They ain't going to be here long.
They're going to go quick.
And I'm telling you, this driver is going to be so insanely popular across the country.
Really
and I know you guys are prepared for launch, but you know how this goes. We might see some back orders.
Right.
but hopefully we don't.
Yeah.
But at the same
Hopefully
time,
we do.
hopefully we do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the companies I'm sure are well prepared to do this launch.
Yeah.
But it is. I mean, we know demand's going to be high, but you don't know how high, right? I mean, it's uncharted waters in some ways. So we'll have to see what plays out. But we're very bullish on this driver.
Oh yeah.
As you guys are.
So August 23rd, come get fit today. We do have a bunch coming, but they're going to go quick. And if there's not a shaft that is in a driver already that you want, we carry a back stock of shafts that we can build on site for you within just a few minutes and have it ready for you to hit and take home. So August 23rd, GT Woods are launching with GT Hybrid and one coming in the spring. You don't want to miss this launch. You don't want to miss this launch. Todd, thank you so much for being on with us today.
Guys.
Thank you,
It's
brother.
been an awesome episode. And this one will air this evening. You'll get to see it very, very soon.
Sweet.
And hop on, give us a call, get scheduled for a fitting, and we will see you on the very next episode. Mostly every Friday night, 9 p.m., except for this one. It's special just for you.
Generational, baby.
Generational technology. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.